Hello, ladies and gentlemen. I'm Eddie Marcus. I'm spokesman and advocate of basic human rights for all people. I've been called the fisherman. I have a wonderful message for you coming live from station WEBM. That's wonderful, Eddie B. Marcus, operating smackdown from the head of the sky, right to wherever you are. So I'm going to ask that you will sit back and relax and let the message of this love and truth flow to you, just like the blood through your veins. And when it's done, you can, if you would, like, comment, or subscribe. The message that I have for you today, my friends, is a very good message. It's an absolutely wonderful message, a message that is so essential for our survival that I would think that you would gracefully receive it without struggle. And yet I'm wise enough to know that you will resist it as best you possibly can. And I say this because you're just like kids who are growing up with their parents, stay at home for a while, and all of a sudden they want to leave home swearing that they know everything, that they know more and better than their parents, or even saying that it's olden days and now it's a new day. Like kids who are young and come out of high school. Right out of high school, haven't gone to college, haven't been in the military, haven't been on a first job, and yet they think they're absolutely wise, got so much wisdom it's pathetic. Now you know how dumb and ignorant they are at that point. Well, when you think about what I'm about to tell you today, that is a reflection of you. You are just like high school kids or children thinking that you know everything when you only know nothing. The message that I want to talk to you today is money versus God. Now, many of you don't even know what God is. You know what you read in the Bible. You know what you've heard your parents say. You know what you've heard the preacher say. But you don't know God. So when it comes down to money versus God, it's simple. You acclaim God, but your allegiance goes to money. Why? Because with money, you eat. With money, you have shelter. With money, you have transportation. With money, you can go to college. With money, you can have health care. All of these things with money. And that's just on an individual basis. But with money, you can have paved streets. You can have street lights. You can have signs. You can have parks. You can have playgrounds. All of these things you can have with money. In fact, you can even have a military designed to kill people. All of these kinds of things with money. Now, what do you get with God? Well, you understand that God might have made the earth, the plants, the trees, the food, the shelters, and all of the things that are produced. But you don't see God in your food. Oh yes, the ability to grow it might come from God. But the other stuff, nah. So let me tell you, ladies and gentlemen, about God. Yes, you do need sufficient shelter. Every last one of you. For survival, and it is all common. No one can live without food. Everybody needs some form of shelter, whether it's a mansion or a tent or a cave. Everyone needs this, and everyone needs that. And everything that you do need, that you do want or desire, the Master has made it possible for it to happen for you. In fact, the goods and services that you as individuals have already determined that are something that you want, that you have produced, that was all through God. And it was done by you, various individuals engaging their gifts in the creative process of what exists. And by so doing that, they are attached to the things that exist on this earth that's made by man, which means that attachment gives them authorship, gives them birthrights to all of the things that exist just by doing your share. You don't have to do it all, just do your share. And by doing your share, the good, great love has made it possible for you to be protected because you've done that. But you haven't seen that. In order for that to go or to be transformed into reality, that means you have to care about one another. You have to do for others as you'd have others to do for you. This is all God requires of you as an expression of your love for God, is to appreciate creation, appreciate what has been given, exercise certain principles that would allow these things to happen. Now, that was initially the beginning. But someone came along with a scam, and they decided that they were God. Since you couldn't look and see God, You couldn't put your hands on God. You couldn't touch God. You couldn't feel God. You couldn't see him. So you just assumed that God was invisible and perhaps that he did not exist. And since you couldn't actually put an existence on him other than the things that man have that he couldn't possibly have had any input in, you decided to be God. Now, in order to be God, that means you had to be superior to others, because there was no way you were going to allow all individuals to be God. I mean, like they said on The Incredibles, if everybody got powers, then what good is power? That's man's thinking. So some had to have power, and some had to have power taken away from them. In that process, there were some who were said to have an attachment to that invisible God that made them special. They called themselves kings and queens and pharaohs and Caesars and the like, popes even. And because they were so attached to this divinity, they deserved more. And their bloodline deserved more than the rest of the people. And so that system was established even from the beginning of time. But I don't want to keep you back that far. I want to take you into the time that you can understand, the time you see every day. Now that time says that the persons that are important are the ones who own stuff. It's a process of that hand-me-down thing. See, for instance, oil belongs to the earth for the benefit of people. But someone, based upon this new analogies that they got set up, owns the oil. And they hire people to work the oil fields, to do the processing of the oil. And they pay them according to their worth and the value of this production. You got people who are paid much money. In fact, that is the process of all jobs. Those who benefit the system as it is the most, that aids the system, they make the most money. They're the ones who get the $1 million, the $100 million contracts, playing, dancing, singing, baseball, football, stuff like this. They keep the people laughing, keep the people's mind off reality. Your nighttime talk show hosts who were telling jokes about all of the evil things that happens in your midst that give you enough to laugh about and take away some of the pain from it so you don't do anything about it. They are paid. They get good money because they keep you distracted. And then those who don't even get paid that much, but they're constantly there talking and talking and talking, trying to incite you to do something while they themselves just talk. Right now, I think about the conditions of the United States of America. We've been brought so low, it's absolutely pathetic. You've never seen such evil perpetrated in this nation as it has been today. Not to say that it has never happened, but in our time it hasn't. And here it goes, and now the people are watching this crazy liar, this demonic man set up and do everything he wants to do and get away with it. People that said they didn't like him now are on his team. And those of you who will say that you want him to be brought down, you're waiting for Mullen to do something. Mullen will get it. Well, all Mullen got to do is come back and say, we didn't find anything. We didn't find anything with Russia. We didn't find anything that this man violated. No collusion, no anything. And then he's free. And the foundation that he has established will just move scot-free. And you will be under a dictatorship while you were sitting around doing nothing. Well, that was the purpose, for you to sit around and do nothing, for this thing, this what you call a democracy, to turn into a dictatorship. So I'm telling you the message that I'm telling you because you don't know the truth about it. You don't know what's going on. You got some of you who think that you're so smart. Look at me. I'm just a black man from Mississippi, cotton fields and picking and chopping from a small, wonderful school called Alcorn State University. But who am I? I am nobody. Some person could shoot me down tonight and no one would care. They might raise a little sand, but it wouldn't mean a thing. Why? Because that's the way you've been trained to think about me and people like me. And yet you think you're so smart. You think that you're smarter than the people that's in North Korea that are being dictated on what they should do. You're no smarter than they are. You think that you're smarter than the Russian people, the Chinese people. You think that you're smarter than Africans, but you are all in the same boat. You're under the bondage of the Satan. You're under the bondage of the devil, because the system that is set up is under the devil's authority. And the only authority that would free you is an authority that works for everybody, makes them free for peace and prosperity and joy. Nowhere is that expressed. And I know that there are those of you who got a job, you got a pretty nice house, you got a pretty nice car, you got money coming in, and you go to church and you pay your tithes and offering. You think that you're serving God. You just caught up in a trap wider than you can ever imagine, and you are serving Satan because you're not doing what the Spirit of God would have you do. But you haven't been told that. Your preacher, you talk about the mega preachers and how much money they get coming in and how they're deceiving people. Well, you might be in a small church, but the same game is being played. Nobody's telling you that God is the master, that God is the only one that you should give authority to. They're not telling you that. Many of you believe in the Republican Party. Many of you believe in the Democratic Party. They are the same coin, just different sides, and they are being pushed by the same power. And there's no way that you can escape it. I heard somewhere that a guy by the name of Rothschild, may have had a different name back in the day, that said it doesn't matter who makes the law, who rules. As long as he got authority over the money, he determines when and where anything goes, and manipulates not just the society in America, but societies everywhere. Now, you've seen scams operated. You've seen con games. You've seen mega games that's been set up to work against the people, and you sit back and you think, how could somebody have been so ignorant to allow these things to happen? While at the same time, you as Americans are going through the same scam, the same identical type of scam. You're being had. You are being had by an evil system that has been set up to do exactly what it's doing. And I'm standing here before you today not to make you change, but to give you information to let you know that you are really in a super situation headed straight to hell. Now, those of you who are listening to me might say, well, then how and why should we honor God? Well, I say that you should honor God because if you're working with the system that God gives, you would have peace, you'd have prosperity, you'd have happiness of joy in your life. There would be no lying, no cheating, no stealing, no killing. But if you're following a different system, my friends, it's going to be founded on lies, on cheating and stealing and killing and gambling. You know how you buy a ticket hoping that this day is your day, you scratch it off and you don't win anything, and if you do, it's just $1 to replace the dollar you just gave. It's just a scam. It's nothing but a scam. And you ask, then who is being served by God? I want to tell you, the most people that are served by God are those that are standing on the corner with a sign in their hand saying, help me, give me something, I'm poor, I need some food, I need $1, I need a job. These are the kind of people, the people that's on the borders that's trying to run away from their systems of government that's just like this system of government is becoming, who have been told that this was a wonderful nation, that we believed in God and we honored God. They are coming to these borders trying to see if there's a God over here somewhere, a God that would embrace them and relieve them from some of the pain. But only thing they're finding is the same devil that they're running from is the same devil that is over here now. And you who sit back and say, well, we don't want them coming over here, they have nothing to offer. We want the good people. We want the people with the talent, the people who can make money, the people who got ideas, who can embrace and work with our ideas. That's who we want. That sounds just like Satan. That sounds just like Satan. That person out there with no legs, God made that person. That person with no arms, God made that person. That person who can't see, God made that person. And he made that person to live on that earth in our midst, just like he can walk, just like he got arms, just like he got eyes. Why? Because that's the love that God is expecting us to generate through our living and through our lives. That's what God is expecting. And so when I say to you, yes, when I say to you, this is a war. It's a challenge between money and God. Who have you chosen? Don't say God. Many religions exist today because they have told their congregations, don't get involved, don't participate. Just sit back and let it happen. The devil loves that. There are some religious orders that have separated themselves from the general society and move outside on the other side of the track somewhere, thinking that we'll grow our food in a world that hell is all around, and you think that God is in you. You better rethink that thing, ladies and gentlemen. When it comes down to God and money, you will choose God. You will choose money every time. Now, why am I telling you this? I'm telling you this because you might want to change one day when this stuff gets so bad. Building up your big military as the devil wants to do, who wants to build a sixth part of the military up in space, who will find out that it takes a little small cloud to come back and blow that sucker down, just like the waters that comes out of the lake in a tsunami blow your houses and cars and railroads and trains all down the track. Just like the earthquakes that split and your stuff fall into the earth. Just like the volcanoes that explode and all that fire comes up and dust comes up and the melting that melts all down through your streets and front of your houses. Just like the wildfires. Don't care where you live at, how much you pay for your house. Burn that stuff down like nothing. That should tell you that you don't have the power. And just because you're a Republican in talking about make America great again, that doesn't mean you got the power. And just because you're thinking about maybe we should redo this thing and put the Democrats in, that doesn't mean anything. That doesn't mean you got the power. The only power there is the power of love. The power of love. And love is God. And money is evil. Money is the devil. And it is the thing that every human being on earth has accepted that they got to have in order to survive. Yes. If you, like me, wake up and change, God will forgive you for every wrong thing that you've done. But don't think that that's going to get you in a paradise. No, my friends, being forgiven is just part of it. Now you got to walk the walk. Not talk the talk. You got to walk the walk. And if you walk the walk, there is going to be a spirit that's going to take you out, blow your brains off your head. But that's what you got to take before you yield to evil. Before you yield to evil. You see, the thing about it is, if love was perpetuated throughout the land, we'd have peace and paradise and heaven on earth. But if not, then we stand up and give our representation for it, and hell say we can't stay here because they don't want to. Here I come. They don't want to have anything to do with us. Then we'll go to heaven, or play someplace else. But you got to know that before you can show that. I want to thank you so very much for giving me this your time. I got to go now. My wife is headed to church, and I'll talk to you later. So, but right now, bye-bye.